Well, hello and welcome back down to my allotment today. Now, we have had a really good crop of cherries this year, but unfortunately they have came to an end. We've got loads in the freezer, so I'm not complaining. But what this means is that with stone fruit, we don't tend to prune in the winter. We prune in the summer because of a risk of a particular type of infection. And we do have height restrictions and obviously access issues here on the allotment. So it is now time, now that all these cherries have been harvested, to give this a very, very good hard prune and tidy things up, which I'm not complaining about actually. I've neglected this cherry tree in all honesty over the years. It's done me very, very well. I am looking at getting more cherry trees because, well, we like cherries so much, but I want to train them up and be a little bit different. And not only that, a little bit windy today as well. This particular type of cherry tree is what's known as a Morello cherry tree, which isn't a particularly sweet, it's more of a cooking cherry tree. Still particularly good. I'm very, very happy with them, don't get me wrong, but we want different types of cherries. I quickly finished pruning the cherry trees and then it was time to tackle my apple tree. Now this fruit tree is absolutely laden with apples. Really, really good year for apples. But if we left it for all these apples to basically continue producing, we won't get decent apples. During June, it's natural for a tree to shed loads of apples or pears or any other fruits like that. You'll find little fruitlets on the ground. But once we get into July, it's now a case that we have to start removing some of these fruits, and it's a very difficult thing to do. I always start with any that are a little bit damaged, like that one there, and that way we can then, well, they're not going to become anything, so they might as well go. Now this is quite an important thing to do when it comes to fruit. The reason being is it gives the remaining apples more of a chance to grow. It reduces the amount of stress on an apple tree, and it helps a tree grow more apples for the next year. Now knowing how much to remove is always a tricky one. The saying that I think Bob Flowerdew said is that you remove enough apples or fruit that you feel like you want to cry, go have a cup of tea and then do some more. It really is a case like that. It sometimes does feel a little bit unproductive to do, or it feels like we're not really making the best of our apple trees. You see how much fruit is on this and you think that would be lovely to get all those apples. But what can happen, and it's not unusual, when you have this much fruit on an apple tree, if we left it all, as I said, we would get smaller, poorer apples. But we would also end up next year, there's a chance it won't produce any apples at all. So it is quite important. Well, I've got to the point that I'm about to cry with the amount of fruitlets I have thinned. If we look in this bucket here, you can see just how many I have thinned. There's quite a few. As far as I'm aware, there's nothing we can do with these apart from throw them on the compost heap. I don't think they'll taste very good. They're not going to be very sweet or anything. So massive, massive waste. When we turn them to compost, they'll be at least useful for something. It's starting to rain now as well, which isn't good. But that means that the seeds on these aren't mature either, so they're not going to be sprouting up any seeds or anything. So yeah, compost heap is all we can do with those. But you know, we'll come back in a few days and we might have to do some more once I've regained my composure. It's a real nerve-wracking thing. I hate doing it, but I know it's for the best. I think to cheer myself up, I need to harvest some food. Well, that's it. The rain is coming in. I managed to get myself some lovely potatoes that are going to be going down very well. We're going to enjoy eating these, and I've got myself an absolutely fantastic cabbage, which is also going to go down really, really well. A few other things, chilies and peppers and the usual sort of stuff, so we're not going hungry anyway. Right, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to head on home and get some of these cooked and eaten. I'll see you again next time.